weather, and I am just blown away by it, to be honest. You can go years without seeing this stuff around here, and to have it 3 times in a row, all on 3 consecutive weekends. That's pretty amazing. But here we are again. The first one a couple of weeks ago, of course, was all snow. And then last week, we were trying to decide what was going to be a frozen mix, what was going to be rain, and what was going to be thunderstorms, strong ones to our south. Now it's back to just snow. And again, it doesn't look like for all of central Georgia at this point, but at least our eastern half. All right, so it's Thursday night, so we have, 36 hours, something like that, before we really get into this whole thing. So things could change some between now and then. This is a look at the graph model for tomorrow, just to show you that anything we see tomorrow would be just a sprinkle or two if we even see that. So that's showing up in green. So very small sprinkle chance through the day tomorrow and the afternoon and evening, and then we'll clear it out. And you can see the green up north showing up on this as green because I don't have the precip type mode changed yet, but I'm going to change it as we go to this next model. So you can see that it's clearly not green. When you ask it, well, what is this, frozen or not, it shows up as snow. So that's what we're seeing starting, if this is right. I always have to preface it with this, if this is right. Saturday morning and going through the day Saturday. And again, the farther north and east you live, the better your chance. So I'm talking about Jasper, Putnam, Hancock, Jones, Baldwin, Twiggs, Wilkinson, Washington, Johnson, maybe Lawrence County as we go on through the day here, Trutland like this. So you can see, if I back this up, Forsyth to Macon, a little chance of a couple of flurries there, maybe toward the west, maybe Crawford, places like that. Houston, you can see a little. But the bulk of it is in our eastern and northeastern counties. We're right on the outside edge of this bowling ball in the Carolinas that will be bringing snow pretty good bit possibly to the Carolinas and along the state line between us and South Carolina. Also of note, a look at these wind arrows here, and those things are ripping it. You're talking about possibly 40-mile-per-hour winds as we go through Saturday afternoon into Saturday night with really cold air, so the wind chill is going to be something. As we get into Saturday, really Saturday and Saturday night, and still some of Sunday as well. All right, let's go from here to the North American model, the NAM model. This shows a little bit of a mixed start for some reason, and then you can see it kind of come down, again, kind of running down 75 east. So if this model is right, at least at first, it goes as far west as Macon, but as we go on through the afternoon, it does try to bring more down and spread it more into our area. So if you're wanting snow, this is a horse you would be wanting to pull for here. You can see the darker colors, the heavier snow bands possible from Sparta down through Sandersville, Wrightsville, Dublin, Soperton, places like that. And then leaving as we go into the nighttime hours. Here's the high-res model. This one, I don't think it goes out far enough to see all the way into Saturday night, but you get the gist. Same kind of thing. And notice there's consistency with all these. There's a little bit movement toward the west here or there, but it's pretty locked up here for our eastern half. And again, you can see, let me go back here, you can see these darker shaded areas. And obviously that's going to be where, the snow could be lining up a little bit heavier there into Saturday evening. And let's go out to 8 o'clock. All right, let's go GFS model, and it shows some sort of a mix to begin with, mid-morning. This one's also a little bit later arrival time. This shows more like Saturday afternoon, northeastern counties, and it barely does graze. It's mainly just these counties on this. And if this is right, Macon never sees anything. It's just our eastern third of counties. Let's go Euro. It's back, instead of being such a later in the day thing like the GFS was, this is during the day. And you can see it coming down, still heavier toward the north and east. This one does include Macon there for a minute. and you can see the Carolinas could be covered up in it here, and then leaving Saturday night. As far as the numbers are concerned, this is tonight into tomorrow morning. That shows low 30s. But I think we'll have upper 20s in the morning. Tomorrow, 50 plus, and that'll be the last day we do that for a little while. This takes us into overnight, tomorrow night into Saturday morning. We're below freezing. This latest graph model tries to show a 32 there, but let's see. I'm looking at other models for Saturday morning, 27, 28. During the day, kind of a range of temperatures. That's why, again, this is not set in stone. The graph shows 32. Well, that's right. Now remembering now, some of these, the actual high for the day is at midnight. So I think it's probably safe to say that would be around freezing, probably could be below through the whole day. You can see as we go into 4, 5, 6 in the afternoon, we're in the mid-20s. And then look how low it goes. Possibly around 18 degrees Sunday morning. I can't remember what I put us at for Sunday. Let's see. I think I put us at 14. So we could be as low as around 14 degrees Sunday morning. And then it does look like we'll get back above freezing. Sunday afternoon, I'm seeing some upper 30s on some of these models over here. Here's a look at the wind speeds as we go into Saturday. Just whipping here, talking 30, 35 miles per hour, 40 mile per hour winds as we go into Saturday afternoon when the snow is trying to come down in these areas. And then we get into overnight now into Sunday, still maybe a 20 mile an hour breeze there. So what does that do to the feels like numbers? Wind chills during the day, Saturday could feel like it's in the teens. As we get into the afternoon, we could already feel like we're in the single digits. And then that's the low. I've seen some numbers lower than this. A wind chill of around 3. So that's pretty cold. And then even as we get into Sunday, when we go back above freezing, it'll still feel like 20s there. So there's the weather impact alert for the day, Saturday, overnight into Sunday morning. Now, the only time we would be expecting snow would be during the day, Saturday. But then the reason this is dragged out into Sunday is because the wind and extreme cold with single-digit wind chills overnight into Sunday morning. And then February, we'll pick up the baton right where January has left off. So we'll see if that trend continues. At least I see some really cold overnight lows there, even as we go into next week. Okay, let's get back to all right, put the graph model here. Again, just in case you're just joining us, just to show you that this would be a snow event this weekend. 3 weekends in a row of some sort of wintry weather, which is mind-blowing to me. I can safely say I don't think I've ever seen that. So again, the graph, kind of a making north and eastward, tries to show a couple of flurries to the west and southwest, but most of it is up here and to the east. You can see the main snow event churning over into eastern parts of Georgia into South Carolina. Again, the NAM model starts with a similar scenario where it's mainly in our kind of northeast quadrant, but then as we go through the day, it does try to bring some down even farther into places like Macon, Warner Robins, maybe into some of our western counties, but there's going to be a cutoff at some point. We just don't know which model would be right on that yet. Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening, eventually starting to clear up and move to the east. Again, the high-res model. Whoops, let's go back to that. (11 a.m., 2 p.m.). The GFS model showing northeastern counties mainly on this one. Again, this one's also later. This one kind of happens more afternoon and Saturday night, and then tries to pull away. This one is the one showing the least amount or the least amount of our area seeing snow. The Euro, again, mainly running north and east, but does try to put a few flurries down in the core of our area. And then leaving. And again with the numbers. 50-something tomorrow. And then it would probably be Sunday again before we get back above freezing, if the models are right. So, Saturday morning, Saturday during the day. Again, this is just one model. Other models are showing similar numbers. Some in the 20s through the whole day. So it wouldn't be a concern, I don't think, as whether or not, if you're in the snow zone, are you going to see snow? Yes, that would be the case, because it would be where all of the levels of the atmosphere are freezing. So, like the diagram that I was using last week, this one, it would be the right column, which is what we had 2 weeks ago. This is what we were looking at potentially somewhere in here this past weekend. And of course, we mainly ended up with just that. But when it's snowing at all levels of the atmosphere all the way to the surface, then it's a no-brainer. It's a snow event. All right, so showing you the numbers there. The wind, again, will be a big part of it, whether you see snow or not. As we go through the day, getting up to around 30-mile-per-hour breezes, 40-mile-per-hour winds Saturday afternoon into Saturday night, and eventually 20-something as we go into Sunday. And again, that does a whammy on the numbers during the day Saturday. This is almost lunchtime, and it could feel like mid-teens, and by the afternoon it could already feel like 9, 10 degrees because of the wind. The actual temperature wouldn't be that cold, but it would feel that cold. And again, it could get down super low as we go into Sunday morning. And even though Sunday is supposed to get us back above freezing, it still should feel like well below it as we go through the whole day. And then back to the teens again for actual temperatures Sunday night. So again, that 7-day, the reason the red box is in 2 different days, because of the potential for snow. Let's see if I can get that pointer to work. Potential for snow here Saturday, and the reason why there's a little bit of red into Sunday morning is because it would be super cold and windy overnight into Sunday morning. So the snow would be over, but still we would keep a weather alert out because of how extreme the cold is. Okay, let's see if we have any questions. Come on, Punxsutawney Phil, we need you. I hear you, John. It'd be great to get an early spring. Looks like folks just having a good time talking to each other. That's good. Let's see, snow amounts again. I don't know if I showed those. Here is some stuff. This is kind of what we've whipped up here. Again, the confidence is increasing for this event. That's what, in the weather community, that's a term for, how are the models lining up? Do we feel better about the opportunity for this? So the confidence has gone up. The far eastern counties, so again, we're talking about like Hancock, Washington, places like that, could get up to 2 inches. As you get on over toward the Macon area, if it extends that far, it would obviously be some lower numbers. So overall confidence that this would be something, an event Saturday, is there. But as far as specific amounts or where it's going to be and all that, exactly, we don't know that just yet. Let's see, will the weather, that went by fast. Will the weather over the weekend affect the roads to the point of canceling school on Monday? I don't know the answer to that, only because we have to wait and see how much we get Saturday. And it's whatever we do see is definitely not going to melt Saturday night. It'll stay there. Sunday, it depends on how long we get above freezing. Again, I'm looking at numbers like the high Sunday, 38, 39, 39, 40. And again, it's kind of like the opposite of what we talked about last week on that Sunday night. How long do we stay freezing? Is it enough to freeze something? How long, in this case, do we go above freezing? And is it long enough to melt some of that stuff off? And if whatever does not get melted off, I mean, we're going back down to around 19 degrees Sunday night into Monday morning. So we just have to see how much we get Saturday and then how long that window of above freezing is on Sunday. It's a good question. I don't know the answer to that one yet. Yeah, I don't see. Somebody said, sounds like there won't be concerns about power outages since there's no ice. Always a concern for my elderly parents. Yeah, I mean, anytime you have some sort of a weather event, you think about some power outages, but no, this is not the same setup as that. Chrissy and Adam, Sandersville getting snow Saturday, you say? I think it's a decent chance Sandersville gets snow, yeah. Will Saturday morning be okay to drive from Warner Robins to Macon around 8 a.m. and then drive back to Warner Robins that evening? I mean, it really depends on how far west this stuff goes. If it's snowing in Macon and Warner Robins as we go through the day, then going back that night might be a little challenging. But I don't know if it makes it this far. And so if you look at the graph, it's like a new one just came in. This one is even farther north and east and almost leaves Macon and Warner Robins totally out of this. So if this new graph model is right, it's basically just our northeast corner. Jasper, Putnam, Hancock, Jones, Baldwin, Wilkinson, Washington, Johnson, parts of Lawrence, Trutland. So if this new one is right, then a good chunk of our area, Forsyth, Macon, Warner Robins, Perry, gets left out. So again, you can see the dilemma. Hopefully we've had a lot of experience of watching models here over the past few weeks. Again, the NAM starts out that same way, keeping everything up here, but then as you go through the day, it broadens out and tries to show that more people get involved here. As we go through the afternoon, things start to clear. High-res model, again, showing mainly in these areas. Could get a few flurries as far west as Macon, but there's going to be a cutoff somewhere, as I mentioned. We just don't know where that's going to be just yet. Somebody said, will Milledgeville get snow? Yeah, there's a shot of that. The farther north and east away from Macon you are, I'm thinking it's mainly in this area, for our area, that could see snow Saturday. But again, some of these models are showing it, a little bit leaning toward Macon, but there's only a couple of them that are doing that. The NAM right here being one of them. Most of the other ones put it right at the edge of it, right on Macon, or just out of reach. So basically, to answer all the questions of all the spots where you live, if you know where you are in relation to Macon, if you are east of Macon, you have a better chance of seeing snow. Josh, when do you think we will start to approach more seasonal temperatures? I don't know. It's crazy. Started the month off near 80 degrees for a week. And then ever since, it's been just a total reversal. Andrea, how come some models are saying 3 to 5 inches of snow for Milledgeville area? Again, that's not a number that I've seen, but, you know, I mean, that's the thing when in the social media kind of landscape we live in now, just kind of be wary about just grabbing in information from everywhere. There are a lot of people that really love to get clicks, and I've even seen where they'll manipulate maps just to try to kind of pique interest so people will click on it and look at it. So you can't trust all that stuff you see out there. Okay, guys, we get ready for the 10 o'clock show, and of course we'll be doing chats like this leading up to Saturday, just like we've been doing the past few weeks. And I'll be doing another one at 9 o'clock tomorrow night, 10 o'clock show, and the 11 o'clock show coming up in a little while. Thanks. Have a good one.